Hey guys, I'm Twan. Welcome back to my channel. This is my first week back from India, so I'm trying to get some videos up and rolling here. Today I want to bring you a video about the medic class. So I want to do some guides on all four classes, so we're going to start with the medic class. And before I get started, I just want to say if you enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe because it really helps on my channel. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the way I want to do this is by focusing on how I choose what I play with when I use the medic class. And when I talk about these things, you're going to get some bits and pieces of my strategy when I use the class, but also at the end, I'm going to throw in some extra strategy tips. So the first thing we should look at is choosing a primary for the medic class. So I feel that many of the medic guns are similar, so it's about feeling out what works best for you. Most of the guns are 3-shot kills, aside from the M1907, which is a 5-shot kill, and the RSC, which is most of the time a 2-shot kill, sometimes 3. Personally, my favorite is the M1907 Sweeper because it's got automatic fire and a large magazine, so you can really do a lot with it. However, my other favorites are the Subsoldater 1916 and the RSC 1917. I think that these three guns are representative of the different choices that you have when choosing a gun in the medic class because you've got a 2-shot kill, a 3-shot kill, or the 5-shot kill in the case of the Sweeper. So while a lot of the guns in the medic class are 3-shot kills, it is worth playing around with the different guns to see what fits your playstyle best. Because while they all, for the most part, have 3-shot kills, they all have different rates of fire, and so you can find something that really fits with how you play. So the next thing that we want to look at is choosing a secondary weapon. And I would say that your choice of secondary directly stems off what you take as a primary. And if you have a gun with a large magazine size and a quick reload, like the M1907 or the Subsoldater 1916, then the type of sidearm that you choose doesn't matter as much as if you have a gun with less ammo. And I say this because you're not going to find yourself out of ammo as often because these guns have huge magazine sizes and quick reloads, so it's not as important to have something you can pull out quickly and fire off a couple shots because chances are you're going to have ammo in your primary weapon. Now, the importance of a sidearm really comes in if you take one of the guns with less ammo. And so I'm talking about guns like the Autoloading 8 or the Subsoldater 1906 because these guns have a quick rate of fire and sometimes it can be a long reload, especially on the Subsoldater 1906 if you don't fire all 5 shots. So with these guns, you're going to be relying on your sidearm more often. And the reason for this is that because if you're in a 1v1 fight, you obviously probably won't need your sidearm because if you can get even 3 of the 5 shots on target, you're going to be fine. The problem is if you get caught while reloading, or if there's a second enemy that appears, you're going to have to use your sidearm regardless because there's not enough shots in the magazine to take on a second enemy. So for guns like this, I like to take a sidearm that is relatively fast at firing, so like the Toxin pistol or the MLE. And this goes back to what I was saying about firefights because you want a pistol where you can get a lot of shots off quickly, but if you miss a shot, it's not going to destroy your damage output. Because if you use something like the auto revolver, say you can get 3 shots off in, I'm not sure how many seconds, but if you miss one, you're kind of screwed because there's so much time in between the shots. So you want something that can fire fast, you can get a lot of damage out real quick, and if you miss, it won't totally fuck you over. So the next thing up are gadgets, and I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to focus on healing when playing as a medic. A lot of people just go out and shoot playing an assault player, but that's not the purpose of this class. You need to be a team player, you need to focus on healing. So one thing you should always take as your first gadget is some type of healing equipment, whether it be the bandage pouch or the medic crate. So the best way to choose these depends on how you like to play. If you like to hang back with the rest of your team, maybe keep firing on an objective, then you want to take the medic crate because if you're with a lot of people, you can heal multiple people at once, although it does it slower than the bandage pouch. But you can get a lot of points from healing multiple players at once. On the other side, if you like to be more aggressive and go up front, you want to take the bandage pouch because one, you can use to heal yourself or one other person quickly, but the downside is that you can only heal one person at a time and you have to throw it down again if you want to heal someone else. So it's also not enough to just take these into battle. You want to make sure that you're using these frequently because your teammates really do rely on it. And also do look at the quick chat in the top corner because a lot of times you will find players asking for medic pouches, and if you're unaware, then you won't notice it and your team's going to suffer. Now, the second gadget choice is between the syringe and the rifle grenade. And this also depends on not necessarily your playstyle, but the game mode that you play. I think that it's always best to run with the syringe personally because it's essential to team gameplay. Reviving is super important to playing as a team. But if you play game modes that are like Team Death, where reviving is far more infrequent and less important to the game mode, then you can run with the rifle grenade. The only other time that I take the rifle grenade is A, if I'm trying to unlock a gun where it's required for it, or B, if I see an enemy's position that's pretty well entrenched. And when I say this, I mean like if you're playing and you see there's like 6 or 7 people in a bunker and you guys can't really get up to it to assault it directly, I would spawn in with a rifle grenade for 1 or 2 lives, fire off as many as you can in there, and then once the position is kind of softened up, then I switch back to the syringe and I run in with my teammates and I make sure I revive them as best as we can while we assault the position. So I think the rifle grenade is best suited for situational objectives, but not to run with all the time, because odds are, if you're out in the open, it's a little more difficult to put a rifle grenade on one enemy, but if you got big groups, then it's far easier to hit people, and it's more useful to a team if you have the syringe most of the time, and it's also important to make sure that you're using the syringe, not just having it equipped. So 2 things that I feel matter a bit less to the medic class are grenade and melee. I mean, I kind of use the same thing on all the classes just because it's what I'm comfortable with. So what I use as a grenade is the impact grenade, because I found that when I throw grenades, I can kind of land it right on the target instead of trying to bounce it in and giving them time to move. So I like using the impact grenade because it's immediate and it's quick. And then for melee, I like using the club because it's the middle of the road for damage and speed. So when you're fighting against another player, and let's say you both are completely unharmed, a lot of times you can come out the victor purely because it's quick and does a decent amount of damage. So I gave you guys some bits and pieces of my strategy while I was talking about those things, but there are a couple more things that I want to say about medic class strategy. And so one thing that I think is important to the medic class is knowing how to move from cover to cover, because you're going to want to revive players and they're oftentimes going to be out in the open. So you need to know when to run across cover and when to stay in cover. So that's one thing to learn. You get used to it as you play more, but it's just one thing that you're going to want to pick up on as quickly as possible. And overall, I think the medic class excels if you push with at least one other person. And this is because it gives you fire support, reducing your chance of losing a 1v1 scenario. Because with guns like the sweeper, if you need to take a 5-shot kill, it's kind of difficult to do if you're going up against a faster firing gun. So that's one reason you want to push with a teammate, and then also it gives you someone to use your heals and revives on to keep your assaults going on for longer and essentially stronger. Alright guys, so that's what I've got for you today. That's my take on the medic class and how I use it and how I think people should use it. If I missed something, make sure to comment below. Tell me what you think of the video. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. So that's what I've got for you guys. I'm Twan. Thanks for watching my video and check out the rest of my channel.